All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm excited for today's deep dive because we're going to be talking about some pretty intense stuff.
Yeah, some heavy hitters this time.
You wanted more info about the legal and political battle surrounding birthright citizenship.
Oh, yeah, big topic.
Big topic, huge topic. And specifically, we're zeroing in on a very particular moment in time
That's a good one.
with former President Trump.
It's a juicy one.
It is a juicy one.
Yeah.
We've got some really fascinating sources to work with today. So we're going to be looking at excerpts from a news article that detail the flurry of executive orders that Trump signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Busy time for him.
very busy time for him.
Flurry's the right word.
It is a flurry. And then we're also going to be looking at a piece that focuses specifically on that lawsuit that popped up almost immediately challenging this birthright citizenship order.
Which is so interesting, right? Like, that's the part that really drew me to this whole thing.
Yeah.
The immediate pushback was like, whoa, okay, this is a big
Right.
deal.
Exactly. So we're diving into this moment in time where you have the president taking these actions that are clashing directly with like long-held legal interpretations, and the fallout is instantaneous.
Yeah, it's a crazy moment for sure.
So, one of the things that kind of struck me when I was reading about this was just this sheer volume of executive orders that Trump signed.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like it mentions in here that he signed something like 1,500 pardons just for the January 6th defendants alone.
Yeah, it was like Pardon Palooza over there for a minute.
It really was. It was a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I see what you're saying about like the sheer volume of those executive orders kind of really puts that birthright citizenship one in perspective.
Yeah, it does. It does. It really highlights how bold of a move this was.
Absolutely. And I think for a lot of people who don't follow this stuff super closely, it's like, wait, hold on. What is an executive order?
Right.
So like, just to back up for a second, an executive order, it's basically like a presidential directive. Like, think of it as the president saying, hey, I want things done this way. And because he's the president, people have to listen.
Right.
But it's not the same as a law that's been passed by Congress, the whole checks and balances thing.
Yeah.
So they've always been kind of controversial, these executive orders. And this case is a perfect example of why.
Yeah, it's like, he's trying to push through this massive change, but you can't just snap your fingers and make it happen,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something like citizenship.
Oh, totally. And that's where the lawsuit comes in. And what's amazing to me is how fast it happened.
Yeah, less than 2 hours.
Less than 2 hours. I mean, they were ready.
They were ready.
They had to have been like waiting in the wings,
Gracefully.
briefcases in hand, just like, okay, go.
Go time.
Exactly. That's how huge this was.
Yeah. And what's really interesting to me, too, is who the plaintiffs were in this lawsuit. It wasn't just like one group. It was like a whole coalition of immigrant rights advocates representing all these different communities. Like you had Indonesian migrants, Latinos dreamers, all these folks who were directly impacted by this potential change.
Yeah, I mean, it was clearly an issue that resonated really broadly and geographically, too.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This first lawsuit came out of New Hampshire, but officials in California, Illinois, a bunch of other states were like, we're going to sue, too.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a local thing. It was a big pushback from all over the place.
So let's dig into the legal arguments themselves. Like,
Yeah.
what were the core points that they were making against this executive order?
Okay, so basically they were saying that Trump's order was like a direct hit on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
Right.
You've got the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause, which has been like this. And their argument was that Trump's interpretation basically rewrote that clause, which could potentially affect like generations of Americans born here.
Wow.
On top of that, they were saying that this order went way beyond what a president is actually allowed to do and that it directly clashed with existing federal immigration law.
So this isn't the first time a president has tried to use executive orders in a controversial way, though, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But this case was a big deal because it was trying to redefine something as basic as citizenship.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about changing the very idea of who belongs in this country and who doesn't.
That's huge.
Huge. And it kind of echoed some earlier attempts to narrow down the scope of the 14th Amendment, especially when it comes to Native American and immigrant populations.
Yeah, I see what you
It's
mean.
like this recurring theme in American history.
And one thing that really hit me was the lawsuit's argument that this order could lead to some children becoming stateless,
Right.
belonging to no country at all.
Like, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah, and I think it adds this really powerful human dimension to this whole legal debate.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they knew that They knew that would grab people's attention and make them think about the real-world consequences of this kind of
Yeah.
policy. It's not just legal theory, it's about people's lives.
And when you consider how many lawyers were involved in this lawsuit, it was like 26.
Yeah, whole army of lawyers.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And many of them were from these big-name organizations like the ACLU and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
It's like they brought out the big guns.
Yeah, they did. And I think that really shows how seriously they were taking this
Oh,
challenge.
yeah, this was a battle they were ready for.
So to sum it all up, we've got Trump using these executive orders like crazy, including this one on birthright citizenship, which sparked all these legal challenges based on the 14th Amendment presidential power and the human cost of potential statelessness.
Exactly. And this whole case makes us think about something really fundamental. How far can the president's power actually go?
Especially when it comes to something as important as defining citizenship.
Yeah, I mean, where do we draw the line? It's something we all have to think about.
It really is. And you know what, folks? This is a case to keep an eye on because the outcome could impact generations to come.
No doubt about it.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
See you next.